I do remember the day I became a gamer, or more the day I knew I wanted to become a gamer. It was the day my older brother brought home the PlayStation 1. And I do believe that one of the games that he got with it was Metal Gear Solid. Um, there was something about that game in particular that made me fall in love with the medium. Uh, do bear in mind that this was a long time ago, like 15 years ago. I was barely 7, so I didn't know any English, or barely any English. Uh, so I didn't quite understand what was going on in the game. I usually just watched my older brother play, and he did a good job, but I never like saw the whole game through and through. Uh, I remember seeing the DARPA chief scene a lot. The Revolver Ocelot was a big favorite for both me and my brothers. And the Grey Fox fight and the character were all big favorites. I also remember seeing the final fight with Liquid a lot. And neither me nor my little brother got to play Big Brother's PlayStation for a long time. And when we finally got to play, of course I had to try Metal Gear Solid. Unfortunately, it's a very complicated game, so I never got much further than the DARPA chief. I might have gotten to the Revolver Ocelot boss fight and a bit further than that, but unfortunately my older brother sold the game before I had time to grow up and mature enough to play through the game. However, it wasn't long until we heard about PlayStation 2 and this awesome piece of hardware. And with it, Metal Gear Solid 2. And both me and my brother started hyping it a lot. My older brother read these magazines and told us how in this game guards were going to find you based on shadows, reflections in mirrors, and so on, and we were so stoked about, oh my god, it's gonna be so realistic, it's gonna be so good. Do imagine yourself as a young child going from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2. I'm sure many of you can remember that. And it did come along, and we were really impressed by it. The thing is, by now it's quite known that Hideo Kojima trolled everyone a lot with this game by switching to Raiden. Suddenly you're playing as another guy, and the thing is, I heard about it before I actually played the game, so it wasn't a big surprise. I didn't expect someone like Raiden, but I had still accepted the fact before I first played it. So I wasn't like blown away by the revelation or anything. Still, I did manage to play that game a lot, and I finished it, and it is one of my most favorite games of all time, even though you play as Raiden for most of it. It's not my favorite game, mind you, but I do think it's very good. Also, my English wasn't very good at this time either, so I still didn't quite know what was going on. I knew my older brother had filled us in, so we knew the whole story about Solid Snake, Liquid Snake, all those brothers, and their father, Big Boss. And this was before we had any internet. So imagine our surprise when a few years later we walked to the store and we saw Metal Gear Solid 3. We were really surprised. We had no idea it was coming. It was suddenly just there, and this time it was my younger brother who bought it right then and there. And when we got to play it, we were not quite sure what we were playing, since neither of us were really that great at English at the time, I believe. I'm not quite sure we actually knew we were playing as Big Boss, like before we had actually finished the game and he was giving the title of Big Boss. It's been quite interesting growing up with the series and learning English, and then going back to play them again and learn new details as time passes. However, by the time Metal Gear Solid 4 was announced, we all spoke, or we at least knew English very well. This was at the same time my younger brother stopped. He lost interest in games, so he didn't want to know any more about it. Same thing with my older brother. I was the last man standing, and with the interest for Metal Gear Solid. And the funny thing is, we bought a PlayStation 2 for Metal Gear Solid 2. Then we bought a PlayStation 3 for MGS4. And I got it, and I remember the cutscenes. I'm fine with them now, but the first time I played it, dear God, it was like a 20-minute intro cutscene. Then I got to play for a little while, then another cutscene. Then I got to play for a little while, then another cutscene. And it just went on and on like that, and I did end up enjoying the game once I actually played it, but it didn't leave a good first impression. It was nice seeing the conclusion to Solid Snake's story, and I was happy with it. It was a bit silly at times, but that was to be expected. Then I remember the rumors starting for Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, There was of course Portable Ops first, but uh, I've never owned a handheld system, so I didn't know much about it. I played a demo for Portable Ops on a friend's PlayStation Portable in school once, but yeah, there's not much to say about that. Um, I have watched a walkthrough about it before. Um, it was around this time also that I did want to play Metal Gear Solid 1. Perhaps before, probably before, uh, but since it wasn't available at the time for like on PlayStation Store, so I actually pirated it for PC, and I launched it at 6 p.m. one night. Then at 12 p.m. I was done. I had finished the game in 6 hours. It was amazing. I loved it, uh, and I played through it several more times after that. And then I found out it was released on the American PlayStation Store, uh, which I bought because I wanted to play it on PlayStation. Uh, and then I lost the American account. My PlayStation have they've had a habit of breaking down. So I lost the account, but then it did become available on the European store as well. So I bought it again. No regrets. Uh, and I played through it several times after that as well. Uh, anyway, moving on to Peace Walker. Uh, since it was also a handheld game at the time, I accepted that I wouldn't ever play it myself. I didn't watch any walkthroughs for it, which I'm grateful for because it was eventually released with a HD collection, so I finally got to play it. And it was okay. It wasn't really what I'd expect from a Metal Gear game, like like all the bosses being Metal Gears. I kind of felt that it lessened the threat of the machine if you like eat them for breakfast, you know. Uh, like you don't. It's like tanks, just another machinery in war. It's not like the ultimate doomsday weapon anymore. Uh, felt kind of silly. Uh, then there was also Metal Gear Rising. I was actually looking forward to that game. I still, well, not anymore though. There's no hope of seeing that original vision come true anymore. But I liked what Platinum Games did with Metal Gear Rising, and I do hope that they get to make a sequel at some point. But it was at this time Metal Gear Solid 5 was announced, and it was the reason I bought a PS4, because I knew straight away that I wanted to play the best console version, and that wasn't going to be on PS3. I don't remember if PS4 was announced at this point yet. It's quite a long time ago, actually. It could be. And I do remember when Ground Zeroes was first announced, and I thought that this was the game. And then there was some event, I don't remember what kind of event it was, when I started seeing that, oh look, there's a new game, The Phantom Pain, and it looks like Metal Gear, but it's not called Metal Gear, so I had to check it out. And when I saw it, I knew that, yeah, this is Metal Gear, but what kind, why is this The Phantom Pain, and what does it mean for Ground Zeroes? And it was a lot of fun following that charade. It will be... I will miss Kojima's shenanigans regarding Metal Gear. It will be interesting to see if he can do something similar in the future with a new game, or if he takes over some old game, or old IP if he doesn't make a new one. I'd vote for a spiritual successor to Snatcher. Yeah. So then we're at Metal Gear Solid 5. The full game is yet to be released. Is it like 2 months away? As I speak. I did get Ground Zeroes last year, around this time, and I did enjoy it. While it was a bit shorter actually than I expected, it has still offered a lot of content, and I do still enjoy it to this day. I don't think I've played the Raiden mission yet, actually. So, yeah. There you go. Some nostalgic memories about how I got into Metal Gear Solid, which I do consider my most favorite franchise as far as games go. And I am sad that Kojima won't be making more Metal Gear games. It will be interesting to see what he does next when he is not forced to continue making them, because you do get the impression that he does want to make something different, but he just haven't been able to. Well, it will also be interesting to see what a new team does with the Metal Gear universe on their own. Could be good, could be horrible. It remains to be seen. Anyway, that's my rant on Metal Gear. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Bye.